Hi everyone, so I've got a crazy upgrade here for people that need just the maximum amount of storage in their laptop. So up until recently, I thought we only had NVMe's with a capacity that topped out at about 2 terabytes, and that was it. That has changed recently thanks to quadruple level cell tech. That means they can fit 4 bits on a single cell, really increasing those capacities. In fact, insane capacities on a single NVMe drive. For 2020, we now have 8 terabytes. Let that sink in for a while, 8 terabytes. That is just a huge amount of data here. So this is the Rocket Q, it is called. This was sent out to me from Sabrent for me to review. So I'm gonna install it, and I'll show you the process of putting the SSD, NVMe of course, into this laptop. So you're gonna need an NVMe slot. I'll run some tests on this drive, we'll see how it performs. I will also monitor the temperatures too, and just give you a little bit of information on this drive. So this is the box it comes in, and you'll notice that there's a sticker on there that says we have free Acronis True Image cloning software. So this just makes it easy, the software they have included here, to clone over your old existing drive onto this newer, much larger capacity. So it is in a little tin inside, keeping that very expensive drive safe from any transit damage, which is good. And here we've got a bit of paperwork. So this is just a Sabrent Rocket Q series installation guide. And here's the drive. So under this, 8 terabytes. That is absolutely amazing. The geek in me is just going, wow, wow, wow. I'm holding in my hand here 8 terabytes of storage in such a small form factor. Is just absolutely crazy. So the label on the top here, this is actually using copper below it. So that's a bit of a heatsink for those flash chips. Now the flash chips on this one are from Micron. The controller is Sabrent's ohm that they use. And there also are the NAND flash chips on the back here as well. And it's both sides. Now normally with the SSDs that I install with lower capacities, they only have it on the one side here, but because we've got 8 terabytes on this model, it's on both sides. So I'm going to install this now into my laptop, and I'll quickly show you how to do that. So this is going to vary from notebook to notebook, or laptop, whatever you like to call them. Now, some of the notebooks, I want to point out here, do have a hidden screw that is under sometimes the rubber feet. Well, in this case here, this is a Redmi Book 16 that I am currently reviewing in the channel, and it's actually a perfect laptop to use because it only has a single NVMe slot, which does have a SATA 3 drive installed in it, which isn't exactly fast. So here we have the internals of this particular laptop. Every laptop will look slightly different. So you want to confirm before even getting this far that your particular notebook, your laptop, does support NVMe. Now, a lot of systems do have a similar looking slot here, but you'll find that it's only SATA 3. I do know that this one supports SATA 3 and NVMe drives. So once you locate it, there's one screw to remove, as you can see right there, that I've removed, and then you simply slot this one out. So your SSD could have some, like this one, shielding around it that can be removed. As you can see, this is a SATA 3 drive, and that is now out and out of the way. Now to install this, it's just the same process. Push it in, and then you need to screw it down. But I wanted to point something out that I don't actually see with other drives, is look at this. So when you take a look at this other Sabrent drive I have, see how there's no NAND flash right there, but there is with this one. That means this part is actually a little thicker than your typical NVMe drive because of the huge capacity. Now this 8 terabyte model has the flash chip there. Lower capacities probably will not there. I'm not too sure. So installing it here, because of that extra thickness, it wants to always sit up a little bit, and that means the PCB here is flexing just a little bit. That's probably the only real con I have found with this drive, and that's due to the capacity. Now, I know that other laptop brands, they might not have part of the PCB right here. Some of them have this M.2 slot right on the end, so you will not have this issue. It's just with this particular drive. So that slots in there. And then, of course, I'm going to screw that now in place. And actually looking at now, I don't think this is going to be a problem at all. It's barely flexing the PCB, so it'll be fine. So I won't bore you with all the technical stuff too much here, but this is just to point out that yes, it's using QLC, so that's how they have these huge capacities, the 4 bytes per cell that I talked about in the intro. And you can see it's supporting smart and trim commands, of course. That's all there, been there for a long time. And then it does also have wear leveling
over provision as well means we don't get the full capacity of the drive. And this is for the reliability, to increase that, of course. And I'll talk a little bit about the reliability. But first to point out that here with Windows, a clean Windows install, I don't have any other apps installed apart from a few benchmark applications. It gets us then, well, we have 7 terabytes, okay? That's very good. That's so much storage just on one drive. That is a lot there for that. So the benchmarks I have run, these have all been run individually, of course. Let the drive cool down just to show you the maximum, the best kind of results here. So very close to their claim there, especially the writes. That is pretty much spot on in Crystal Disk Mark here. Each benchmark has slightly different figures, okay? And we're looking at our random reads. They are very, very good here. These are excellent. So very close to their claims, as you'd expect. It's going to vary slightly here. And then AS SSD benchmark as well is one that a popular one that other people like to see too. You can see similar speeds, but they are a bit lower. They always come through lower with this particular benchmark here. It's slightly different. Even though both of them are transferring over 1 gigabyte files, measuring those speeds, it always seems to be a different result. So compare this with your own drive speed. Of course, download one of these benchmarks, benchmark your own drive if you are planning to upgrade. And the last one I did is ATTO disk benchmark. This one shows you, of course, like all drives, that the smaller file size and bytes here are going to give us lower speeds until we get up to larger. You can see the transfer rates there. There we are looking at up to almost 3 gigabytes. Again, very, very close to the claim, so that's great. And what about temperatures? Stressing the drive out and doing all this, I have noticed that it's going to get up to a maximum about 64 degrees. So it is, yes, it's hot to the touch. This is normal. And you're going to see this in all NVMe drives. They do get hot, and that's why you'll see later on that lots of people do end up installing heat sinks on top of them, thermal pads and whatnot, just to help a little bit, because they do throttle down the hotter they get. But this is a cooler running drive. I do see my Samsung I have installed on my desktop PC. That one gets up to into the mid 70s and even late 70s, where it's quite a bit hotter. I don't actually have a heatsink on that one at all. It's just airflow over it to cool it, and that's it. That's all I've done. So very good. And in terms of the reliability, here you can have a look that it does vary here with the specs on what you can get in terms of the total, the terabytes written. So with this capacity, the 8 terabytes, that's 1800. That's very high. That is good. And then when you look at then the mean time before failure for all of the capacities, it is getting up to almost 2 million hours there. So that is very good. And of course, we've got a 5-year warranty with this. So using this, the control panel here from Sabrent, you can view the drive's health. So if you've had one for a year, it's been doing a lot of writes, you can use this to check on how it is. This is based off Smart Info. You can see the drive's temperature, smart details, and firmware upgrades here. So at the time of this video, there are no current firmware updates. I'm on the latest firmware with this particular one here. And a little bit more information there is visible.
All right, so that's an absolute crazy capacity. Great to see these advancements now with SSDs moving up in terms of what we can squeeze onto just a single drive with that new tech there coming forward. So 8 terabytes, that's a huge amount of data. So really that's, I would say, more for professionals, of course. Someone that's got a workstation, you move a lot of large archive files, video files, backups, things like that, perhaps for a server rack, and you don't have a lot of space, then this is what this is all about. If you're someone that needs just the largest capacity possible, then you have it here with this drive. Now don't forget that it does of course have a 5-year warranty. Looking at their website, it does have a very good mean time before failure, and the amount of terabytes that can be written to this particular drive is very high there as well, with of course that higher capacity. But there's always going to be a but. It doesn't come cheap, of course, a drive like this. It is very expensive, so I don't see gamers out there buying this for their gaming laptop when the drive itself is going to cost twice the amount of your, say, typical gaming laptop there. So thank you so much for watching this review of the Sabrent Rocket Q, and I do hope to see you back in the next one. Bye for now.